Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 265 based on novel. So let's start. In the air above Yangji main continent, a C9 silver-colored blue disc-shaped ship was flying. The distance is shrinking. We are getting closer. Luo Feng's expression was serious. Every cell in his body was jumping, locked on a certain spot far away. He could clearly feel that as time passed, the dot moved closer to the main continent. It's moving. Just what is it? It can actually call out to me so strongly from so far away. Luo Feng frowned and pondered. There's a high chance it's linked to the nameless manual. Only the related treasures, like the soldier and general armor, can call out to me like that. The calling he felt, he had always thought it was very mysterious. As normally even treasures wouldn't call out to people. Like the Showu wings or beast god armament etc., there were countless powerful warriors and treasures in Primal Chaos City, however he had never felt such a feeling before. And Luo Feng had checked through the virtual universe network before, he had never seen any information about a treasure calling out to people at all, hence he deduced. This treasure must have a high requirement for its user, like one had to be trained in the nameless manual to use it, hence the powerful calling. I've checked. Within the virtual universe treasure trove, there's no such mysterious god armor that allows one to have the strength of 1,000 sector lords or even 10,000 sector lords. Such a special armor, at least with my authority, I haven't been able to find one. The soldier and general armor have been in the Wulong starfield for countless years, yet no one has ever discovered their power. Luo Feng nodded. In summary, there were very few treasures linked to the nameless manual, at least humanity's understanding of it was very little. It's moving. Just what is it? A treasure? Or a life form? Luo Feng was filled with curiosity. Days passed. Luo Feng sat in his ship and continued towards the space outside the main continent. The area was simply too huge, even flying at sublight speed for 3 months, the ship had yet to fly out of the main continent area. We are close. It's getting closer to us, we will probably meet in half a month. Luo Feng suppressed his excitement. It's been flying these 3 months, maintaining sublight speed. Then, it's very likely that it's within a ship. The distance got smaller. When it was within 10 billion kilometers away, Luo Feng purposely stopped his ship. Stop! Luo Feng's eyes flashed, gazing into the distant space, almost like he spotted the ship. 10 billion kilometers away. 9 billion, 8 billion, the distance shrank, in a blink of an eye. 5 hours passed. No? Luo Feng shook his head and frowned. It didn't head towards us, and is continuing to fly towards the main continent. I can only feel it, and that ship probably cannot sense us, otherwise it would have headed towards us long ago. The owner of the ship isn't like me, he cannot feel the soldier and general armor. Very good. Luo Feng smiled. The ability to feel the treasure, the enemy didn't have it, this was good news. Get close. Luo Feng ordered, head towards it. Yes. Barbata replied. Luo Feng pointed in the direction and the ship headed towards the mysterious treasure. The distance shrank, 3 billion kilometers, 2 billion kilometers. The blade-like ship was flying above the air of the main continent. A black-armored youth stood within the ship's control room, gazing at the scenery outside, laughing. It is indeed a battlefield, this main continent has so many strong warriors. After 2 months of flying above the continent, I've already clashed 10 times with other strong warriors. They really have some peculiar techniques, it's thrilling. There's no way I would have met so many other race warriors staying within our own territory. Only by coming to the outer region wars where there are plenty of strong warriors would I feel how vast the universe is. There were hardly any repetitions of the races I fought, almost every team was a new race altogether. This is after all the outer region wars, the battlefield for the 4 pinnacle races. An underling spoke respectfully. When will my race become a pinnacle race? The black-armored youth sighed. Even though my race is strong, and there is only a level difference between a strong race and a pinnacle race, however the strength difference is unimaginable. Whether it's the number of basic undyings, or the number of absolute warriors, they cannot be compared at all. Only by forming alliances with other powerful races will our race be able to become a pinnacle race. Your Majesty. An underling spoke, the universe has 6 pinnacle races after all. It's extremely hard to become one. What's more, with our huge alliances, we naturally don't have to fear the pinnacle races too, we can at least stand equal with them. The youth nodded. Within the universe, there were 6 pinnacle races. They were the strongest amongst the trillions of others. However, they weren't invincible. While other races may not match up to the pinnacle races alone, with their alliances, their strength would far exceed the 6 pinnacle races by tens of thousands of times. The numbers of the other races were after all huge, hence there were many alliances within the universe. While they may be weak alone, forming alliances allowed them to stand on par with the pinnacle races. There were different levels of alliances too. The power struggle within the universe was brutal. The proud lonely space beasts were also forced to form their space beast alliance, allowing them to stay in power. They were at most willing to do this. As for the demon race wanting them to be absorbed into their race, the space beasts disliked the demons in the first place. Why would they even bother? The two ships got closer. 1 billion kilometer, this was within Luo Feng's scanning area. He should be about 990 million kilometers away. Luo Feng clearly felt the coordinates of the treasure. Barbata, have you discovered anything? 990 million kilometers? However, Luo Feng, the scanner hasn't picked up any ship within that distance. I've only discovered 2 ships. One is 510 million kilometers away and the other is 780 million kilometers away. Barbata said, but we haven't discovered your target. Luo Feng frowned. Get closer, follow the direction. Luo Feng ordered. The distance got smaller. 800 million kilometer, 6. Nothing. Nothing. The distance is within 420 million kilometers, no ship has still been detected. Barbata said, and we haven't detected any other ship flying at sublight speed. Luo Feng's expression changed. He clearly felt the treasure moving at sublight speed, yet the scanners picked up nothing. The biggest possibility was, the enemy has a scanner more advanced than his. When we encountered the automaton warrior before, his scanner was more advanced than mine. Could it be that this life form is the same? Luo Feng cursed. Stop. Luo Feng ordered. The ship stopped. In the distance, the blade ship continued forward. Even though they weren't exactly flying towards each other, the distance continued to shrink. 380 million kilometer, 360 million kilometer, 300 million kilometer. Luo Feng could feel the dot moving all the time, clearly feeling it change directions. It actually began to head towards them. It was clear that they had locked onto his ship. We've been discovered. Luo Feng opened his eyes suddenly. The enemy has discovered us. Luo Feng looked down at this arm screen. There was still nothing on his scanners, even anything flying at sublight speed. My scanner hasn't picked up anything. The enemy is already 300 million kilometers away and has locked onto our position. It's changed its direction and is flying towards us. It's obvious he has a more advanced scanner. Within the blade ship, there's a black winged human in the distance. There's only him in the ship. He should be some winged human from humanity. The underling said respectfully, Your Majesty's scanner was a gift from the night. It's definitely top-notch within Yangji main continent. This human has no clue. The black armored youth nodded. The two of them got closer. 200 million kilometer, 100 million kilometer. The blade ship headed towards Luo Feng's ship. The direction was spot on without any error. What do we do? Luo Feng felt every cell in his body jump, his blood boiling. Excitement. Uproar. It was almost like he was about to obtain an impressive treasure. He had to fight hard to suppress it. Do I go all out and fight for it? Or immediately flee? If I go for it, the Bug Clan army has to be within 100,000 kilometers. If the distance is too far, it would be too easy to dodge. If I let the Golden Horned Beast out, that would reveal its location. Who knows which camp this enemy is from? I can definitely confirm it's not from the human camp. If it's the automaton camp, the moment they see the beast, they would immediately inform the enemy and he would probably teleport over. Luo Feng was calculating all decisions. What do I do? To have such an advanced scanner is definitely not a normal official, or he has some huge background. Or he must be extremely powerful. My Earth body can only deal with a low-level official. To have such a scanner, he definitely has more strength than that. Luo Feng was worried. He wanted to fight it out for the treasure. But his strength wasn't sufficient. The only hope was the Golden Horned Beast. However, there was the risk of revealing its location, and if revealed, the automaton warrior from before would definitely appear with more power than before. 90 million kilometer, 80 million. Luo Feng clearly felt the distance shrink. The ships kept getting closer. Luo Feng, don't risk the danger. Don't lose your mind because of the treasure, Barbata said urgently. This is the outer region wars. Even though you may get treasures through the dangers, whether it's this enemy before you or the automaton enemy from the past, your scanner is no match for theirs. You are disadvantaged. If you take the risk, you may very likely lose your life. Luo Feng clearly felt the distance get closer. 56.39 million kilometer, 50. As it got closer, the calling got stronger too. If his willpower wasn't strong enough, his body would have simply jumped out on its own and rushed towards the treasure. Leave. Luo Feng gritted his teeth and ordered. We leave immediately, head towards the travel point. Yes? Barbata said excitedly. The ship that was stopped in the air fiercely accelerated, quickly reaching sublight speed and flying above the main continent. This scene made the black-armored youth chasing him frown. Your Majesty, the target is moving and has reached sublight speed, is heading in the complete opposite direction. Even if we chase at the same speed, we can only get close slowly through angles. It would probably take a long time to catch him. The prerequisite is that he doesn't know we are chasing him. An underling said. The black-armored youth shook his head. This human is lucky, let's give up. There are many other powerful warriors on the main continent. Yes. The blade ship swiftly decreased its speed and headed in its original direction. Hence, the two ships got further away from each other. Luo Feng sat in his control room and wielded his blood shadow blade, rubbing it and saying softly, the weaker ones shouldn't mess with the stronger ones. More haste and less speed. My scanner is weaker than the enemy's, and I'm unable to use my strongest card. I'm also oblivious to the enemy. An enemy with such a scanner must be one with some background. If I fight now, I probably can't win. It would be a tragedy. He shook his head. Bear with it. Since he's come to the main continent and from where he's headed, it's obviously towards the deep regions of the main continent. He's here to explore the continent. It would take over 3 months from here to the closest travel point, and my return to the camp would take less than 4 months before I return here. Unless he's dumb enough to come here and return immediately. Otherwise, even with my trip back and forth from the camp, I should still be able to find him. Luo Feng confirmed. Anyone that came to the main continent, as long as they didn't fall, would at least stay for hundreds if not tens of thousands of years. And that enemy had obviously just come to the main continent. From where it was headed, it was obvious that it was towards deeper regions of the continent. The continent was vast. The moment one flew it, it would take a few years to circle around it. Even from far, I can still feel the treasure. When I return, I should be able to clearly feel his position. Back to the camp. Even though he was unwilling, he could only bear with it. Everything would have to wait till he returned from the camp. Flying straight to the travel point from the main continent and later traveling straight to the 26th camp. It took over 3 months for this return. The camp. The disc-shaped ship was like a bead of sand. The camp itself was like a huge planet. Luo Feng gazed at the camp. The malevolent war machine was larger than a sun with a diameter of over 1 million kilometers. It was a pinnacle AAA god base, and its colorful energy barrier surrounded it. Its malevolent ancient-looking cannon had complex engravings around its barrel. It made Luo Feng shudder within. It was a perfect piece of art. Soldier Luo Feng, your ship will now be controlled by the camp. Do not resist. If you resist, you will be attacked and the consequences will be deadly. As the ship got close, it was forcefully taken over by the camp. The ship was brought to a pathway into the base, following the pathways for a while before it entered a huge hall. Luo Feng had returned to the camp. Welcome back, soldier. A silver-uniformed human worker smiled and welcomed Luo Feng from the cabin door. Did you choose to retire or come back to rest? Rest. Luo Feng waved his hand and kept the ship in his world ring. Follow me. The worker smiled. Luo Feng followed. The worker said, as a free soldier, you have no need to follow the arrangements of the army. You can choose when you want to return to battle or rest. You can also choose to bring an army or not. However, it is rare to see a lone wolf in the outer region wars. I don't like it crowded. Luo Feng glanced at him. The worker smiled. The two of them became beams of light and quickly reached tens of thousands of kilometers away. The left end is the entertainment region, restaurants and gathering, as all sorts of entertainment can be found there. Ahead is where the free soldiers live. Their living arrangements are much better. He said. You should have been arranged a place. Just retrieve the number given to you and head over. As for entertainment, you can head to the left. If you want to head back out, you can follow this path. Luo Feng nodded. Then I won't be bothering you. The worker was very respectful as he left. Luo Feng glanced ahead. Not bad. Luo Feng complimented. Tens of thousands of kilometers ahead, there was a mountain range with rivers and trees, along with some snowy and sandy areas. This was the top-class living quarters of the camp, and it was almost just like a holiday on a planet. To a base with a diameter exceeding millions of kilometers, such a space was easy to make. Luo Feng's quarters was an island in the middle of a lake. Soldier Luo Feng, this island is your private quarters. While you stay here, no one else is allowed to enter the island. The beautiful island became his private territory. Luo Feng walked on the gentle sand and he was satisfied. Hey! He suddenly heard a loud shout. Luo Feng turned to look. In a distant island, there was an undying human, dressed in loose long robes, covered in green fur and walking barefoot on the sand. Even though he was far, both had vision capable of seeing each grain of sand on their islands. The green furry man smiled and said, I'm called Kutuo, welcome neighbor. I'm called Yang. Luo Feng smiled. Yang, you a pinnacle official or emperor? The distant Kutuo smiled. Luo Feng was curious, why are you asking this? Ha ha, this private spaces are for the free soldiers. However, they all have different living quarters. Some have normal spots while others have more luxurious places such as villas. To have an island by yourself or a mountain peak, these are the top-class quarters. Normally only those with high contribution points have the right to live here. They are normally emperors, however from the energy you give off, you seem to be pinnacle official. Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. Right. His contribution points were mostly brought in by the golden horned beast. Hence, he did earn quite a bit. Being given this place, he belonged in the place of an emperor. The human body with the Shouwu wings gave off the energy of a pinnacle official. Almost an emperor. Luo Feng said, however I haven't gotten my ranking. Ha ha, looks like you've had some growth in the outer region wars. I, Kutuo, am known as the Explosion Emperor. The distant green fur man smiled. Nice to meet you, I have some matters to attend to. Once I'm done, let's go grab a drink together. Luo Feng smiled. All right. The man smiled back. The strong were as such, they would normally befriend others of the same level, and the arrangement by the army naturally gave the strong extra encounters too. Luo Feng entered his own living quarters. This was a very special place. The island took up an area of 1.2 cubic kilometer. The island itself had some 1 or 2 leveled ancient constructs, and surrounding these were ancient statues. One could also locate a few azure rivers. It's a good holiday spot. Luo Feng kept the armor and changed to his underpants and jumped into the warm river. Lying within felt very comfortable. Time to study the goods. Within the world ring. Moshe Luo Feng wore a black robe and stood before the huge broken pyramid. That automaton warrior sure was wealthy. However, this ship should be considered his top treasure, otherwise he wouldn't even bother to chase me. Black-cloaked Luo Feng followed the slit in the pyramid and entered the ship, after which he carefully examined each cabin. Barbata! He shouted, with a wave, robots appeared within the walkway. Arrange for a careful examination of the ship. He ordered. Leave it to me. A robot replied, the many robots immediately dispersed about. Black-cloaked Luo Feng stood before a short G-grade automaton puppet. This was the only G-grade puppet in the entire ship, however after the attack from the million-bug army, even though its body wasn't fully destroyed, its core within was completely shattered. This was after all an attack that would kill even the golden horned beast, much less an automaton puppet. This G-grade puppet, just its metal body alone is worth quite a bit. He muttered. With a sweep of his world energy, he checked all the items on it, quickly discovering the world ring. This should be where the large automaton puppet army is kept. This world ring was controlled by a G-grade automaton puppet. Hence, it didn't have any spirit imprint and it was considered a free ring. Black-cloaked Luo Feng immediately used his world energy to scan within. Ha ha. He smiled. Indeed there are 1 million automaton puppets, and all of them are F9 grade, and are in perfect condition. He had already acquired 530,000 puppets before. However, they had their cores damaged by the golden horned beast's attack. The ones in this ring however were in perfect condition. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. A 1.5 meter tall Ute Barbata ran over. Barbata. Luo Feng glanced over. Barbata was a living AI, hence it could easily control an automaton puppet body. Back then, the master of the Yunmo planet Hu Yangbo had given him a similar body. However, the usage of a metal body was very normal, it didn't help his abilities much. The evolution of a living AI was very hard, unless one acquired an evolution heart and absorbed it, melding the AI with their body, only then would the two be fully fused. Almost like a soul to its body. The living AI would then have a precious living body, and would be able to grow and evolve. After fully melding with their body, they would feel the universe laws much clearer, at least akin to a normal human warrior. And those without the ability to evolve, like Barbata, may train their comprehension. But even after 1 trillion years, they could never ever become undying. Only with the evolution heart will one truly have the ability to become a powerful automaton warrior. As training progresses, the automaton's body will keep strengthening, and the flexibility and sturdiness will improve, almost like a flesh and blood body. Hence the evolution heart was very important. It couldn't be helped. The evolution heart was something only the automaton race had. This was their most important treasure, hence their control on the evolution heart itself was very strict, forbidding anyone from ever selling it. This rule is embedded deep within their core. They may be able to produce many evolution hearts to nurture warriors, however they would never sell a single one, even at a huge price. This made it extremely hard for humans, demons and so on to get their hands on the evolution hearts. The difficulty was simply too high. This was something only the automaton race had. Hence, every evolution heart was priced above 10 billion mixed elements. This was akin to an emperor's entire wealth. This means, unless one truly wanted to make their living AI their life or death partner, or one was an absolute warrior with huge wealth, they wouldn't be able to afford the evolution heart. Barbata currently didn't even think about it, it had never had one before, he was satisfied with a metal body. Luo Feng, don't ever forcefully try and hack the perfect F9 puppets. Barbata shouted. The black-clothed Luo Feng looked down at the youth Barbata. The perfect condition puppets all have defensive abilities. If they are forcefully hacked, they will self-destruct. Barbata said. The automaton warrior is extremely far from us right now. He's unable to control these puppets, however if they are attacked and they self-destruct, they become worthless. There's no way to control them? Luo Feng asked. Of course there is, but my hacking ability is not sufficient. Barbata smiled, hence there's no need to forcefully attack them. Just scan their insides and sell them. The virtual universe company would naturally have the ability to easily hack them, we just have to pay a small sum. Luo Feng nodded. This hacking, it was better left to the professionals. How is the scan complete? Luo Feng looked at Barbata. Barbata nodded. Completed, there are 4 types of items in this broken ship. The first item is the ship itself. This F9 ship is equipped with an extremely powerful defense energy barrier, it's slightly more powerful than the Yunmo planet ship. It's a pity that the attack before had destroyed it, it's been ripped apart. It's mostly only worth its weight in F9 metal now, its entire price would still be about 5 million mixed elements. The second item is the G-grade puppet. This puppet may not be huge, but it's still G-grade, and its quality is still much better than your blade and shield. It should be worth about 20 million mixed elements. The third is the cores you'll get from the 530,000 damaged puppets along with the 1 million good condition puppets. The price of that will be worth about 800 million mixed elements. The fourth item is the most valuable. It's the most valuable apparatus within the control room. The apparatus are all made of G-grade and F-grade metals. Their energy system is incredibly complex, I don't even dare scan it. However, just the metal from the apparatus alone would be worth over 500 million, of which the technology and other abilities are even more complex. They are probably worth much more. As for how high, I have no way to confirm. Just these 4 items. The entire price must be extremely high, at least more than the goods you've accumulated over these 1,000 years. The total sum of your 1,000 years here would only be worth about 100 million mixed elements. This is far from this ship's value. Luo Feng nodded and laughed. It was time for the harvest. It was definitely worth it to fight against those with background. He had only acquired a single ship, yet his rewards were that huge. The wealth of that automaton warrior did give him a shock. How do I sell this though? Luo Feng pondered. I'll advise you to first get an estimate from the virtual universe company. Barbata said. Luo Feng nodded. He first scanned through all the items and made records of them before simulating them in the virtual universe. Within the virtual universe primal region, Luo Feng's villa. Your Majesty Luo Feng, it's an honor to meet you. To receive an invite from you really makes me, Nuo Sai Wu 11, honored. A green-robed fat undying with two fish eyes bowed low to display his respect to Luo Feng. Luo Feng was the primal Chaos City leader's disciple, naturally his position was extremely high. Thanks. Luo Feng smiled. Look. Luo Feng pointed to the land beside. On it was a broken pyramid ship. This was completely simulated. This is? The Undying asked curiously. This is my spoils of war. I'd like to ask, as the purchasing head of the company, what price can you give me? Luo Feng asked. The virtual universe company naturally had a purchasing department. They normally let their AIs handle the deals. The higher value deals, however, were run by the internal members. Nuo Sai Wu was one of the main managers of this department. He normally dealt with emperors. The ship is damaged, it should be worth a few million mixed elements. He said casually. Having frequently dealt with emperors, he didn't care about such low numbers. The true goods are inside. Luo Feng smiled. Follow me. Nuo Sai Wu was shocked. He was curious about this disciple of the primal Chaos City leader. He entered the broken pyramid along with Luo Feng. This is an automaton ship, and one from a warrior with quite some background. Nuo Wu Sai looked at the decor within, smiling as he passed judgment. When he first saw the G-grade puppet, he nodded and complimented. G-grade puppet, its metal alone is worth 20 million mixed elements. These are the 1.52 million puppets I collected, of which 530,000 are damaged while 1 million of them are still fine. These are the damaged ones and the perfect ones. This is the most valuable apparatus I acquired. It's able to set up a powerful space that can even trap an emperor. After the viewing, Nuo Wu Sai was shocked, because even an emperor usually only had a wealth of only about 10 billion mixed elements. They would hardly have a deal worth tens of billions. The automaton puppets are only slightly damaged, only their energy cores have been shattered. Since their important parts are still fine, they only require light repairs. The 1.53 million puppets are exceptional goods even amongst the F9 items. They'd be worth a few hundred mix elements each. The cost of building them within humanity is much higher. On average they'd require about 1,000 mixed element each, hence I can give you a price of 1.5 billion mixed elements. Of course. The most valuable items is the apparatus. This batch uses extremely good materials, and the most important thing is their usage. This is considered top class even within the automaton race. A knight-level warrior probably spent quite a bit of energy to create them. To get an automaton knight to build something like that, it's worth a lot, but it's a pity this is only a part of it. As for the apparatus, I can give you a price of 3 billion mixed elements. Nuo Sai Wu finally gave Luo Feng the estimates. Including all the other little items, I can raise them slightly higher. I'll give you a total price of 4.6 billion mixed elements. He smiled. I'm normally not this generous with normal emperors. 4.6 billion mixed elements. Luo Feng was surprised. Thanks, I'll think about it. Luo Feng said. Haha, no rush. If you wish to sell them, you can find me anytime. Nuo Sai Wu smiled. Your Majesty's rewards are huge, especially the apparatus. However, if you could get the complete set made by that night, it would be worth a lot more. Luo Feng nodded. Nuo Sai Wu left. Haha, even the virtual universe company is willing to fork out 4.6 billion. Luo Feng smiled. This sure is worth a lot. That automaton warrior must really have some background. Not bad. Barbata smiled. Fighting a powerful enemy brings bigger rewards. Fortune and disaster go hand in hand after all. This is fortune, how can this be a disaster? Luo Feng smiled. Right now I'm wondering how to get a higher price and through what means should I go through. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.